right. Well, welcome everybody to Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. And with
Even me? Even me? Am I welcome too?
Well, Ruben, slow down there. Slow down. So I wanted to give an intro to you. I wanted to introduce you to the listeners.
Okay, go ahead.
So with me, I have a special co-host. Ruben's been like an angel on my shoulder all this time, and Ruben, I want to say the fans miss you. They do miss you, and I've been explaining throughout the episodes that you have not been on, as you know as well as I do, that I live 3 time zones away. As of right now, just for people behind the curtain, can see us behind the curtain, it's 10:20 p.m. for me right now, so it's already late for me. And it's 7:20, which is not that late for you, and you've got a family, so it's hard for even you to meet up and to do these recordings because you still got your family responsibilities. Mine have gone to bed, but it's late for me now. So that's kind of the conundrum we find ourselves in after my move. So I apologize to our listeners that Ruben, you haven't been on the show for a while because of those logistics. But how you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's always good to hear my voice too.
So a couple things, Ruben. Let's do some catch up, both with ourselves as brothers and for our listeners. You asked me just before we started recording. What did you ask me?
Have you watched Cobra Kai?
I have not.
Okay, now Cobra Kai is kind of related in the Rocky universe. Cobra Kai is the TV show that is a YouTube original. Used to be YouTube Red, but it's the premium channel.
Right. It's
the present day Karate Kid characters, same actors, same characters in the present day.
Right.
Of course, John G. Albertson. That's how it's in the same Rocky universe.
Right. Yeah, John G. Albertson is the director of the Karate Kid films, parts 1, 2, and 3. And I think he did part 4 as well, the next Karate Kid.
I enjoyed the Karate Kid movies, whichever ones I saw. I don't know if I saw 3. Probably saw 2.
I think we both saw 2. I think we saw part 2 in the theaters, Ruben, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
But we did not see part 3 in the theater, which tells you something.
If at all.
If at all. I don't think I've seen it yet either.
So I don't, whatever. Like, I enjoyed it as a kid, and it didn't carry on throughout my life.
No.
I wasn't excited that there was the Hilary Swank Karate Kid. I wasn't excited that there was the Will Smith Karate Kid.
Will Smith Jr.
Well, you know what I mean? Just, okay, they're making it. No big deal. So to say that I was excited about Cobra Kai would be an understatement.
Right.
Underwhelmed at best. But anyways, I heard of YouTube Premium. Like, I'll give it a go. And that was the one that came up, so I just pressed play. I binged 2 seasons.
Wow.
In one week. I've lost so much sleep.
Wow.
Because of it. It is so good.
Cobra Kai.
And there's no reason why the show should be good.
Wow.
And I've been thinking about what if they did a Rocky thing like this? What if they did? It's just good writing. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Sure.
Good acting. It's really good. So if you've ever enjoyed the Karate Kid, ever enjoyed anything in the Rocky universe, you like the underdog story, you like the fight the power, good fight scenes, all that sort of stuff. If you like the 80s, if you like 80s music, it tips its hat to the 80s and the cheese.
So currently there's 2 seasons and there's 20 episodes total, so I guess there's 10 episodes per season. YouTube has renewed the series for a 3rd season, which is scheduled for 2020 release, Rube.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are you going to get YouTube Red now to watch season 3?
Well, I did. I use Google Play.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, for $12, I'll binge it. Sure. It's really that good. But I didn't realize that once you get a YouTube Premium, it cancels out your YouTube Play because it includes YouTube Play.
Okay.
It's more of a formality. So I was paying for it anyways for the streaming service. I use that for my podcasting and for listening to podcasts and streaming music.
Right.
So it doesn't cost me anything extra. It's just switching over. That's all. It's fantastic.
Okay, good.
It's worth $12. You can cancel it. Yeah.
Are we sponsored by Cobra Kai or YouTube?
No. You said bring it up. So yeah. Well, everybody that I bring it up with, huh? What? I actually Facebook messaged Derek Dwayne Johnson. Have you seen Cobra Kai? Because of his connection with,
of course,
his documentary film.
King of
Is
the
it called John? which of course goes over the life or the career of the director. I know I slaughter his name every time I see it. John G.
Avildsen. You've done just fine.
So I messaged him. He also approves. It's a good show.
Yeah, he likes it. And speaking about Derek Dwayne Johnson, documentary director extraordinaire, he's on the circuit right now promoting his new documentary called Stallone, Frank that is. And he has promised, I know he'll keep true to his word, that he will be coming on our show, Ruben, to talk about that documentary. It won't hurt for me to say this. He is going to ask if Frank will come on the show. I'm sure Frank will say no, but at least as close as you can get to having the director of your own documentary is asking to come on the show. I know Derek will do that for us. Apparently Frank does not do podcasts unless you're Adam Carolla or Joe Rogan, which is fair. We're nobody. But we'll have Derek on, and that to me is just as wonderful, if not more wonderful, than having Frank on.
More wonderful?
I don't know why I said that. Because I love Derek.
Hey.
Derek and I have actually become good friends. The friendship with Derek is more important than having Frank on the show. But I would love to have Frank on the show.
That's beautiful. We should have some Bill Conti mood music playing as you described that.
Ruben, did you see Rambo Last Blood?
Before on the podcast, for those that keep score,
okay,
I said that I never saw Rambo 4. And then I was planning on seeing Rambo Last Blood, and I saw Rambo 4 on Netflix. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. And I began watching it. I'm like, this looks really familiar.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
I had seen it. I just totally forgot that I saw it.
Well, it's 80 minutes. It's a very short film, and yeah.
There's not a real storyline to it.
No. Missionaries ask Rambo to help give them safe passage. Missionaries get captured. Bad people kill village. Rambo gets angry, blows everyone to pulp meat.
And did it in a really great cinematic way.
Oh, sure. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I'm glad that I forgot it because I got to watch it again.
Sure.
And then I saw Last Blood.
Okay.
Unlike Rambo 4, though enjoyable, Last Blood was great.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, what is going on? Why is this happening? There's no way that would happen. Like, when I say no way that would happen, I don't mean like that was unrealistic, but like in the movie realm, there's always like
right.
You don't think something dangerous is going to happen to a main character.
Were you surprised by the girl's death in the truck?
Well, I was trying not to say anything.
No, it's
spoiler
okay. Who cares?
All right, I was shocked by that. That's what I was referring to. I can't believe that's happening.
If you're not a Stallone fan and you haven't seen Rambo 5 in the theater, then shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you because...
But even knowing that, it won't ruin the movie.
No, because we're just talking about a girl in a truck. We didn't even say who that girl is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too deep into Ruben because I actually put on Twitter. I tagged you in it, but I know you don't really go on Twitter. I actually find it interesting to see who follows you on Twitter, and I always feel bad because you don't do anything on there.
Who follows me on Twitter?
Yeah, well, people that follow the show, the Rocky Series Podcast, you can find our show on Twitter. Just search Rocky Series Podcast on Twitter, and we'll come up. So people follow the show on Twitter, and some of those same people actually like to follow the host, Ryan and Ruben, on their personal Twitter accounts. And I
had no idea.
Yeah. So to those who follow Ruben on Twitter, bless your hearts for seeing absolutely no activity whatsoever.
I think I've logged into MySpace sooner than I've logged into Twitter.
That's beautiful. What's the name of the guy in MySpace?
Tom?
Tom, that's right. When MySpace was first created and I created an account, I didn't have any friends or contacts. And Tom added me on MySpace. I kid you not, Ruben. I thought he was I thought it was a legitimate friend, like or a person that wanted to add me on MySpace.
It was so sad.
It was. It took quite some time before I realized who this individual was. I didn't know he was the Zuckerberg of MySpace. And
yeah, when MySpace was still a thing, Facebook was just emerging. Those universes overlapped.
They did.
Tom from MySpace was a guest on this Canadian show called The Hour with George Stroumboulopoulos.
Oh, yeah, George Stroumboulopoulos, yeah.
And George asked Tom if he was worried about the growth of Facebook.
Oh, really? Is that... Oh, I found it. Wait. I found it.
Yeah, I think we wanted something a little punk rock, something... Yeah.
But it was important not to go too big.
Yeah, I think we wanted something a little punk rock, something very Canadian, So that was part of the reasoning.
What's the advent of Facebook mean? It's obviously not nearly as popular right now as MySpace is, but it is picking up a little bit of steam. How do you guys deal with that?
Yeah, I think Facebook is quite different. It's mostly people talking to each other that know each other, and MySpace has always been more open. You can set your MySpace so that you only talk to your friends. A lot of people don't even know that, but Facebook is more about who you know, and MySpace is more about meeting more people and the people you know, and music and video and all these different cultural aspects. So.
Oh, poor Tom. Yeah, so the listeners just heard the clip, and they can judge for themselves if Tom should have been worried or not. So, Ruben, it still has a revenue of $109 million a year. It has 150 employees.
It does not. So apparently Tom Anderson's net worth is $60 million.
Sure.
That's impressive.
Yeah, he's from Los Angeles. Yeah. I was thinking we could probably wrap up Rocky V today, but that's just not going to happen.
All right.
And I don't want to rush.
There's no reason to rush a masterpiece.
Well, the last episode should really be the street fight. I didn't want to rush through it, and I know maybe for the viewing audience or the listening audience, they don't get to see it per se as we talk about it. But to be fair, all of our seasons regarding the final fight, so seasons 1 through 4, I think we've dedicated 1, if not 2 episodes to the fight. So I don't want to rush the fight for Rocky V. Even though I have my feelings on the matter, I think they're worth talking about. So let's just go right into where we left off, Ruben. Rocky has just finished watching Tommy win the championship against Union Kane on TV. And Paulie has suggested to Rocky, let's go to the bar and wrap our teeth around a couple beers, drink this night off. Adrian supports us, says, yeah, Rocky, go with your brother-in-law. Get your mind off this fight that you weren't a part of at the end, even though you brought Tommy to that part. And Tommy didn't thank Rocky, he thanked George Washington Duke, and that's what's happened here. So off Rocky goes. In the next scene, George Washington Duke and Tommy at the press conference.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the newest, the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, Tommy the Machine Gunn!
George Washington Duke has just introduced Tommy as the youngest champion of all time. And this, I think, is supposed to mimic, of course, Mike Tyson at the time.
Sure.
And when this was written in 1990, Mike Tyson was in his prime, if not young himself.
Was this before or after him being 1990? Was he in prison yet?
No, I don't think he was a sexual assaulter until later. Well, he may have done it before. I don't know. So in 1990, Ruben, Mike Tyson would have been 24.
Oh, that's so young. It is so young.
Isn't that crazy? So and then when this movie came out, Tyson was 24, but Stallone, when he wrote Rocky V, had Tyson in mind as the Tommy character. That type of
Sure, yeah.
That type of young boxer pounding through his opponents. Tyson became the champion at a very young age. I forget what age it was, but I think it was 18, if I remember correctly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How does anybody ever process that? You hear of some celebrities that maybe started out young, but they didn't get really famous until after 25, 26, or later. That they were glad that they didn't get super famous young.
Boy, there's pros and cons to being famous young, of course. Very few celebrities and athletes seem to rise above that.
I have a friend who's a gold medal Olympian winner. After he got his first gold medal, he went into depression because you work so hard for something, and then when you realize and obtain that thing, that it actually means nothing. And the cliche of it being about the journey is true. And he thought that was garbage until it actually happened to him. It was like, oh, it is about the journey. Winning whatever in your field ultimately doesn't really mean anything after the moment. Not being able to process that as a kid, they're just kids at that age.
Right. To be fair,
at least as an old man that I am.
Right. No, it's good. I don't know. I've never had success in my life, so.
Well, that's why I was referencing somebody else's.
Oh, well, yeah, true. Good point. All right, so the reporter got up here and he asked the question. So the question for the reporter was, do you think the fight was too easy?
In life, people ask those questions.
It was almost like a derogatory or...
Well, that's why I hate them. It is insulting. Yeah.
But can it not be that Tommy was just a better fighter? Like at the end of the day, I know we as the viewer,
I know,
aren't supposed to like Tommy. That he turned his back. He turned his back on Rocky. Yes, he saw the glitter and glam that George Washington Duke was going to give him this big lifestyle, and Rocky told him to wait for it to get it, to get it the proper way, not the sleazy way. But so we as a viewer don't like Tommy. We're not supposed to like him. That he's fallen from grace.
Yeah,
and even the reporters, they do know that Rocky's not there as well. Like it's mentioned in the commentating of the fight that that Rocky's not there anymore in his corner. Mm-hmm. So maybe the reporters are being salacious on purpose. Mm-hmm. Tommy's response was, "Yeah, he got a few shots on me. He actually has a black eye, to be fair." And Tommy then just says, I'm just glad to be the champ. Yeah.
I'm just glad to be the champ. Tommy, don't you think that this looked more like a Philadelphia sparring session at times instead of a championship match? It looked like it broke a sweat.
Another reporter gets up and just says, it looked like a sparring match. It looked like he barely broke a sweat. I guess the insinuation there is maybe it's this fight fixed because Duke is in charge of both boxers.
Yeah, very observant. Union Kane wasn't feeling that good, but Tommy Gunn would have done the same thing if Union was 100%.
George Washington Duke responds that Union Kane wasn't feeling very good, that he was under the weather. But even if Union Kane was 100%, Tommy would have done the same damage. And Tommy looks at George Washington Duke with this look on his face like, what? So he's been duped. He's starting to see now that he's been duped, that maybe this relationship was fixed a little bit. So even Tommy, I always felt sorry for Tommy. I think he was duped.
I know. I remember feeling sorry for Tommy. Every single time I think of Rocky V, more than any of the other Rockies, I remember watching the movie. I remember being in the theater, and I remember that feeling of like, I felt bad for him. Yeah. Because even at that tender age of like 13 or whatever I was when I saw the movie, I had been duped at some point. That's why I felt sorry for him, because I know the feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's dawning on him here that the belt he has on his shoulder might not have been the sweet victory that he anticipated. So Duke now calls out, next question.
100% he fought like you didn't have a heartbeat. Come on.
Everybody knows that Kane is just a paper champion.
What do you mean by paper champion?
One of the reporters yells out and says, hey, Union Kane looked like he didn't even have a heartbeat. Another reporter says he's a paper champion. And Tommy then asks the questions back to the reporters, what does that mean by paper champion?
It means Kane's title was manufactured. He never won it from Balboa.
So it says here that Kane's championship was manufactured, that he didn't actually win it from Balboa, which is true. Kyle and I talked about this a little bit. And if you want to listen to previous episodes, our listeners, listen to the Kyle episodes. He was really clear on how that works, on how Kane or people today can get the championship, because Kane didn't win the belt from Balboa. Balboa retired as a champion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So nobody fought Rocky to get the championship. So basically it was the paper champion is the idea that he was kind of defaulted as a champ because he was the number one contender, is probably my understanding.
Speaking of a paper champion, have you watched Paper Tiger?
Paper Tiger, no. What is that?
Bill Burr's newest Netflix.
Sorry, yes, okay. We should have maybe should have started with Bill Burr's paper. Yes, sorry, I forgot the name of his special. Yeah, of course. I've watched every Bill Burr comedy special there is. Yes.
Just making sure.
So you heard the word paper, and
it's the same context. It's not a real champion, not a real.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Oh, I like
it. Yeah.
Another plug. We've plugged YouTube, Cobra Kai, and let's plug. I mean, really, Bill Burr probably needs our help.
Netflix does. YouTube does.
Can you imagine? Hey, listeners, if any one of you started watching Cobra Kai because of our show, can you let us know? I'd be curious if we have any kind of influence over anybody.
Yeah, well,
that's what social influences are. Is we
sure.
And they go and do it because of our show.
Like, my wife has never even seen Karate Kid. Like, I don't think
she never watches our podcast either.
It's one of those shows where it's like you gotta watch.
Oh yeah.
First 2 episodes are free,
and then you're hooked.
You're hooked, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's people that like go in bars and they talk about like a new liquor that's in the bar. They're supposed to talk it up. They're influencers.
Say that again?
I feel like there's people that do that like in real life, like social influencers, where they go on like bars or stores and they talk about it. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, I know. We thank you for our listeners, the few that are there. Thank you.
Yeah, well, if you like Rocky, you like Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's probably an easy transition.
You like paper?
It's a lateral move.
And I think you like Paper Tiger. It's the same generation.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, moving on from this paper title. Wrong wording.
Now George Washington Duke's about to tell the press, gentlemen, give the boy a break. Union Cane is for real.
Get a boy a break. Union Cane is for real.
Tommy, you ever think you're going to get out from underneath Rocky Balboa's shadow?
Man, I won the title. What more do I have to do?
I'll tell you what you have to do.
A reporter says, do you think you're ever going to get under or away from Rocky Balboa's shadow? And Tommy's response is, what else do I have to do? I've won the title. Like, what else do I have to do? And a reporter is about to respond with, I'll tell you what you have to do.
You gotta fight some real opponents, right?
And I beat the best tonight.
The best? This guy's a bum. He doesn't even deserve a shot at the title.
So now the reporters are kind of taking shots at Tommy, saying Tommy's a bum, that he hasn't really fought in any real opponents. And Tommy's he's legitimately like, what's going on here? This is not the celebratory press conference I thought I was going to receive. There's an individual in this press conference who's sitting next to George Washington Duke. He's a lawyer in Philadelphia, and he's been in 2 of the Rocky films. He's been in Rocky V. He is the doctor/lawyer that told Rocky about his injuries. And in the beginning of Rocky V, I don't know why he's sitting at the table here with George Washington Duke, but he is. And then he's also plays one of those councilman people or boxing commissioner people who tell Rocky in Rocky Part 6, Rocky Balboa, that they're not going to renew his license to fight. And Rocky gives a speech about, who are you to tell me what I can and can't do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so he's played 2 different roles, but he seems to be a friend of either Stallone's or the people who work on the Rocky films as a bigwig lawyer in Philadelphia.
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
No. I've actually reached out to him for an interview because he's still alive and he's still.
I was about to say you should do that, but
and I'll try again. Well, he might be too big for his britches for me. He's been in 2 Rocky films. Let's go. Let's be serious.
Well, how old is he now?
I don't know. He was old in 1990.
So it could just be.
Sure. The reason why I reached out to him because he did a recent interview regarding the Creed films at some point. Yeah, like with some print or whatever it was, but he was featured in some sort of article, so he's still, yeah. But
how do you feel about Creed 3?
Is that official?
I don't know if it's official, but it sounds like Michael B. Jordan's going to direct it.
I know you don't listen to the show.
What are you talking about? I'm listening right now. I
hope a couple of our listeners got a chuckle out of that. As our faithful listeners of the show, Ruben excluded, I actually have already expressed my thoughts on Creed 3. I'll just share it briefly with you because there might be first-time listeners to this episode, right? People who have come back because of your presence.
That's why I brought it up. Yeah,
because to be fair, Ruben, when I was talking about Twitter, I announced on Twitter that you were on today's recording, and there was a very positive response. You're missed.
Oh yeah.
Of course you're missed. You're the.
Well,
your contributions to the show are amazing.
Okay, so let's hear about your thoughts about Creed 3. For those that haven't heard.
I will just say, look, I'll say this. At the end of the day, I love the Rocky character. Okay. The best parts, I'm not saying the only good parts, but the best parts, the stand-up parts, was every time Rocky's on screen in Creeds 1 and 2. And then Creed 2 notwithstanding, when the Dragos were on screen. The weakest part of the films is when Rocky was not on the screen. I'm not saying there were weak moments, but I'm just saying I went and saw Creed because of Rocky, okay? I'm wondering to myself, and I wondered about this when Creed 2 was announced before we were certain if Rocky was going to be in it or not, but now Creed 3, I don't know if Rocky's going to be in it. And I think at the end...
No, he's not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So my feeling, all joking aside, I'm not trying to be snarky or even trying to do a hot take, or I mentioned on a previous episode my feelings of Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if I like him as a person. I don't know. You sort of sense some celebrities and what they might be like. Let's pick an easy one. I love Denzel. I've loved Denzel for decades as an actor, and I've never seen an interview or an indication where I don't think I wouldn't like him as a person off screen. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
We talked about Carl Weathers. Same with Carl Weathers and his character of Apollo. I never got a feeling that I wouldn't get a kick out of Carl Weathers, even with his pompousness. It seems to fit him. It's hard to explain.
Blessings.
Yeah, be peace. At peace. Be peace.
Oh, is that what it is? Sorry.
Twitter, be peace.
Oh, sorry. BPs.
Same with Tom Hanks. I've been a fan of Tom Hanks for decades.
He's the one in Booze Buddies?
Yes. He starred in Booze and Buddies. You might recognize him.
Okay,
Booze and Buddies,
yeah.
such movies as Booze and Buddies.
Oh, jeez. Holy frick.
What?
My volume is so high that my phone's ringing.
You okay?
Jeez. Can we pause? It's
Dad. Just do what you got to do. And
so, sorry about that. I had the volume up for the conversation, and then Dad called, and it was so loud in my head and so unexpected. It was like deafening. I was very thrown off. I totally forgot what we were talking about.
That's okay. Long story short, and I apologize to our listeners for me, but I don't know how I feel about Michael B. Jordan as a person in real life. It seems like maybe he's the nicest guy in the world, and he just does such a good job on screen playing people that are the personality type that he plays. I'm not a big fan of. He did it in Black Panther. He did it in the Creed films. And then just his acting style alone isn't. I'm not engaged by it. I find it kind of dry. I kind of find it a little bit. I don't find it charismatic.
Okay.
And Tessa Thompson, her character, Bianca, is not very good.
Are you kidding? I want to see a Tessa Thompson Bianca spin-off movie. I just
of her singing career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What it's like to be her.
Yeah.
If there was an alternative universe movie or a continuation or whatever in the Rocky universe,
right? Where
would you go?
Mickey, prequel.
I agree. I think Mickey there's the most depth you can go there. It'll be interesting. It'll be gritty.
Totally gritty. Mickey, and when he talks about those fights that he had, he didn't have any manager, and he was spitting blood.
He got no manager. Yeah.
I would do it so we saw Mickey and we saw his failed time as a boxer, but it turned out that it wasn't because he didn't have a manager, that he did have one, but the pain and anger that he carries inside is that he just didn't do very well as a boxer.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you like that? And so he talks about spitting blood through his cheeks. We'll see that it never happened. We'll have that fight come up, and so we as a viewer would be like, oh, here's the fight where Buddy puts thumbtacks into his gloves. And we'll see that it never happened. So Mickey kind of we'll see that he was a bit of a tail spinner, which would actually coincide with his character, with how you're gonna eat lightning, you're gonna crap thunder. This whole experience of why he's kind of works on hyperboles is because he's kind of lived his life that way.
Or he was never a boxer.
Well, no, it's a little silly.
No, I think so.
No, because he showed a picture to Rocky about him in his prime there, and Rocky goes, "You didn't take a very good care of that picture, though."
Maybe it was like in a playbill. He was like pretending to be a boxer and something. I once had, this is kind of related, but I once had a boss who was a liar, and I'd always egg him on more stories because I knew he was lying, and I always make him look like a fool, which ended up getting me fired. He sang with the Elvis, John Wayne. Vacation at his family's ranch. Like when John went on vacation, it was at his family's house. Anyways, ended up getting me fired. But obviously he's not a liar. The character himself's not a liar. But I could see him spinning it to what you said there.
Yeah, I like the idea that he did have a manager.
Why don't we write some fan fiction here?
Oh, I can't do that. That's Matt Marchand territory. I can't.
Who?
Matt Marchand.
Who's that? Is that one person, two people?
Stop. Matt Marchand. He's, Matt, Rambo Mania.
Oh, I never know how to pronounce his last name.
Oh, okay. You've only seen it print. Okay.
I don't understand French.
No, it's pronounced Marchand. Yeah. You probably see it as Marchand.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I know he listens to the show. I just don't want him to break his heart.
No, of course not. Hey, Matt. Yeah,
that's more his territory. He digs into different unearthed script ideas and fan fiction and failed scripts that didn't make it, and things that are deleted scenes or scenes that were storyboarded but didn't get filmed. So, anyways,
I look forward to him being on the show.
He is going to guest on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did have a scene in mind for the Mickey prequel. Of course, how the series would end is Mickey's just got his gym set up. He's about, he's just got it set up. He's about to open the doors type thing. and a figure walks into the door, and of course it's going to be a younger person, so it can't be Sly in real life. You could use his voice, but you have
a deep fake.
Oh yeah, deep fake. Okay, so yeah, sure, deep fake. So the individual comes in. It just ends on this, and he just goes, "Yo, you open?" And that's it.
Yeah. That's great.
Is this place open? And Mick goes, yeah. I'm just working on a couple things. Yeah, come on in. Okay. Well, do I get a locker, Mick?
I haven't seen the movie, the new one with Will Smith, where he fights himself.
Yeah, Gemini Man.
Gemini Man. The younger version of himself is 100% computer generated.
Yeah. Well, it's de-aged. It's him, but they de-aged his face.
No, but he wasn't there playing himself.
No, I thought it was de-aging.
My understanding, you Google this to see if I'm wrong. But my understanding is the first movie, my understanding, according to Will Smith,
what does he know?
The character is 100%.
Well, that's like Jar Jar Binks.
I guess the qualification would be using somebody's face. I think where he explained this was on Stephen Colbert's show. Long story short, if they could do it for Gemini Man, they can do it for Mickey. They can do it for anything. Sly can be, 97 and still acting in movies, lending his voice or whatever.
Speaking of Gemini Man, Sylvester Stallone's name was tossed in the hat to star in this film.
In Gemini Man?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was too bad. That would have actually been more interesting to me.
Why can't I be in charge of other people's movie careers?
Yeah.
I
love Will Smith, but he's done a lot of these kind of movies already from... It's just he's already. I would have been more interested in seeing it because Sylvester Stallone is much older. In fact, that's actually one of the criticisms people had about the film was Will Smith is already a young-looking 50-year-old. For him to fight,
he looks younger than me.
Yeah, and for him to fight a 20-year-old version of himself isn't that much of a stretch. But having a 73 Stallone fight a 25-year-old Stallone, no, that would have been interesting.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
Or Meryl Streep, because Meryl Streep can do anything.
Yeah, she can. Did you see her dressed up as Trump?
No, I missed that.
Trump makeup? Yeah. Google that, listeners.
Sure.
Okay, so let's continue with our coverage of Rocky V. Isn't it great having Ruben back on the show, everybody? Duke is now trying to calm the press. He goes, gentlemen, whoa. I love how he says gentlemen. He's only speaking to the male reporters. I love 1990.
Sure.
Even those female reporters in the crowd.
We're getting carried away. Now, Union Kane was the recognized champ. Next question.
So Duke says Union Kane was the recognized champ. Next question.
You know the rating system can be manipulated. The bottom line is Tommy Gunn beat a second-rate fighter with so much glass in his jaw he ought to be a chandelier.
Say what you want.
Tommy fought Union Kane, who had so much glass in his jaw that he could have been a chandelier.
Oh, jeez.
Now, what's funny about the sequence, these reporters just smell blood in the water, and they are just attacking. They're actually just attacking, throwing out insults and antagonizing the champion, Tommy. Not any of them are level-headed. They're all angry, white, old men yelling at Tommy and Duke.
Hilarious.
They're angry at the system. They're angry at Union Kane. They're angry at Tommy. Angry at the Rocky's not there. And this guy with the glass chandelier comment, the people in the crowd, the reporters around him were just smirking, laughing like, good one, man. That's a good one. Yeah, you got him.
But this man will prove to be a great champion.
He might win a few fights, but a Rocky Balboa he'll never be.
He may win a few fights, but a Rocky Balboa he will never be.
I hate comments like that. Just in general, of course. I understand it's supposed to get under Tommy Gunn's skin. It pushes the story along. But just in general, I really dislike those type of things.
Sure.
There's only one Beatles. There's only one Stones. There's only one Stallone. It's just the way it goes.
Right. In that same way is when people say, I like chocolate ice cream more than vanilla. And
sure.
I like a lot of flavors.
Sure.
And I don't know if that kind of ties into what Tommy is. Right now, Tommy is the champion. Right now, it's vanilla ice cream that's in my mouth.
Sure.
And it might not be chocolate, and it might not even be Rocky Road, speaking of Rocky, or cookie dough, but it's ice cream, and it's vanilla, and I'm eating it right now, and I'm enjoying it. I don't have to compare it to all other ice cream to enjoy this bite. I never understood that. Speaking of which, Ruben, Joker. This ties in. Have you seen the Joker movie?
No, but I saw Joker, not the Joker.
Sorry, my apologies. No, I'm asking if you saw the movie based on Joker.
I didn't see the movie based on... Okay, yes, I saw Joker. Well, I had nightmares 2 nights in a row. Like, genuine, real nightmares. It haunted me because I was falling asleep. I could have, like, the images in my head. I was trying to, like, shake it. And it seeped into my brain.
It's a powerful movie.
It was. Like, it really, really was. There's a few things in it that hit too close to home for me.
Are you talking about the comedy special? The stand-up comedy.
Yes.
I was trying to get. Okay, so this isn't a spoiler. Try to stay away from spoilers on this part. Yes, but there's a scene where there's a stand-up. We won't say anything about what happens there, but there's a scene where we see people doing open mic. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've done open mic a couple times, and I've enjoyed it like a lot. But I got wife, kids, business, and you just don't have time to be creative all the time. Not that I'm like that funny anyways, but I really enjoy doing it.
Right.
So I was seeing somebody else unsuccessfully doing it, and that's...
Did you take pleasure in someone suffering on the stage?
Oh boy, it's like, that's a weird way that it kind of hit home. There's other... I'd have to watch the movie again, and I don't know if I will.
Find it on Blu-ray, 4K.
Do you still buy movies?
I do. I want to own this one. I'm sorry, because there'll be times in my life, the next decades to come, where I'm going to be in the mood to see something like this. Because the journey and the powerful acting, the acting alone by Joaquin, and this is what I'm getting about comparing. So people are like, "Well, Ryan and Ruben, what are you guys talking about? You're talking about comparison with the champion between another champion." People touted Heath Ledger as the greatest Joker ever.
It was true. It was true.
It was true until Joaquin.
Yeah.
My point is, you can still enjoy Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy it, watch it, and have a great time. But when I'm watching Joaquin Phoenix's performance, I'm sorry, I'm now eating cookie dough ice cream.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's just so above and beyond anything that people have seen.
Yeah.
It was truly incredible.
The music, what do you think of the music, the soundtrack?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The movie was...
It's a female cellist that wrote that music. I will admit, I thought it was a male conductor, a male composer, but I looked it up, and it's I forget her name. I think it's a hard name to pronounce too. But her music is so haunting in that film.
Was it Yo-Yo Mama?
I think it was Yo-Yo Ma. Yeah, I think it was
Yo-Yo Mama.
Sorry. But she also did the music for that Netflix show Chernobyl.
I haven't seen that.
Apparently, it's very good too.
Yeah. Have you seen Living with Yourself?
Is that with Paul Rudd?
Yeah.
No. Is that good?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's on my to-watch list. Her name is... Yeah, this is why. Hildur Guðnadóttir. Guðnadóttir. She's from Iceland. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Could have sworn that was a French name.
The reporters are constantly comparing him to Rocky. You could argue and say Cesar Romero is no Joaquin Phoenix, but, he got to be Joker and he played it well at the time. But now we have a new champ, and I know it's kind of flipping it in timeline-wise here because this is the new champion. But it's okay for Tommy to be a different kind of champion at this time.
Sure. It's okay for there to be a different kind of Penguin.
Or a different James Bond.
Penguin?
Or Batman?
Let's think for a moment, Ryan.
Different kind of Penguin. Are you talking about Mickey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yes.
I'm keeping in the Rocky universe. There is Danny DeVito and there is Meredith Burgess.
Yep. Meredith Burgess did a much better job as a penguin.
No.
Quack, quack. He quacked. The penguin quacked. All right. So Duke goes, he's no Rocky, let's face it.
He's no Rocky Balboa, let's face it. There's only one Balboa. Now, Balboa was a true people's champion. But in time, Tommy Gunn may be able to fill his shoes.
Duke is trying to, is it satiate or satiate? Or what is that word?
Satiate.
Satiate, thank you. The crowd. and saying that Rocky will always be the people's champion. And maybe in time, Tommy will fill those shoes as well. And Tommy gives Duke a look like, you got to be kidding me. And Duke says, next question.
Fighting stiffs like Kane, he won't. And I'll fight anybody, anywhere.
Somebody says he's not going to fill Rocky's shoes by fighting stiffs like Union Kane. And Tommy's now just pissed off. He just says, I'll fight anybody, anywhere. And the reporter then goes, who, when? When are you going to fight a real fighter? Now, we as a viewer are led to believe, okay, we all know who that real fighter is. Rocky.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
And I remember when I first saw this in the theaters, there was still part of me with the hope, like, hey, do we have time? Do we have time to get Rocky in the ring?
Yeah.
We're sitting at an hour and a half in this film already.
We just needed a quick 2-minute montage of Rocky going old school.
They could have done it. They could have done it.
Gentlemen, come on. Well, thank you for coming tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
Duke's trying to close the proceedings here because it's just getting out of control. The reporters are just yelling, and basically they've just resorted to insults. That's all they're doing now.
It's turned into a roast.
Oh, yeah, and we're about to get to the best part of the roast right now, Ruben. So a reporter gets Tommy's attention. He goes, hey, Tommy, I got something for you.
Tommy, I got something for you. For your next fight, why don't you fight the redhead in the front row? I hear she comes real cheap. What about
you? Okay, this line does not sit well for 2019. Because, again, it's playing to the viewer, like the movie viewer.
Sure.
Right? Because we know that she's basically pimped out by Duke for Tommy.
Yeah.
To keep his mind off Rocky, to keep him kind of, like a drug almost. Hey, you come with Duke, you get the ladies, you get the money. So she is legitimately, she is a paid services for Tommy. For real. She's being paid by Duke to take care of Tommy.
Companionship services.
Yeah. But so we as a viewer know that she's not in it for the real thing. She's in it for
She's there for a good time, not a long time.
That's right. But the reporters don't know that. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if they were legitimately had fallen in love? They were high school sweethearts. I mean, what do they know about this girl? There's no internet back then. So there's no real way to Google her. She could have been someone that Tommy dated in high school. Yeah, then maybe he got a little bit famous with the boxing and she came back and they rekindled their love.
Like Ed Sheeran's wife.
There, yeah. Can you imagine? Let's pretend that happened, Ruben. Okay, let's pretend that they truly are in love, and she's carrying his child, and that reporter made that comment.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the anger? Obviously, so we as an audience can laugh a little bit because we're like, oh, we know she's not honestly in love with Tommy; that she's doing this for the money.
Sure.
We get to laugh as an audience member, but in reality, we do not know her story. And this man basically called her a cheap whore. It's terrible. There's no business for a guy doing that, in public or private. Her business and how she deals with her body or sexuality is not. You know what I mean? Like that just does not fly today.
Yeah. It's pretty coarse.
But at the time in 1990, the crowd probably just guffawed.
Guffawed.
You like that one?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I'm not sure the last time I heard it or what the context was, but I guarantee it wasn't from anybody that I know.
Well, Ruben, guffaw.
Yes.
Here's an example of a woman laughing. That's a pretty good guffaw. Yeah, it's a good word, isn't it? Guffaw. Okay, we're gonna end it there.
All right.
Because the next scene is, of course, Duke ends the interview after this insult, and Tommy, we'll see, is livid, and he has that confrontation with Duke, and it's a great scene. I don't want to gloss over it, and I think it will tie into, I think it's fair because it goes from that scene to them calling out Rocky and the fight scene, and I don't think the fight scene is going to take that long to talk about, so... But there's a great moment coming up in our next episode when we talk about Rocky V where Duke goes into that. You got to dog him. You got to do whatever you do to get. Was that a real fart?
This is a great scene.
Was that real? Get out of here. I've kept those in. I should have had like a challenge. Like if our listeners can go back and listen, I'll give like $100 to everyone they catch. That one's too obvious, but I've kept them in. I've actually amplified a couple of them throughout the Oh man! Well,
why is it funny?
It's not funny. It's terrible. Our mom listens to this show. Come on.
I'm laughing more than I should, but I have a wife. I have daughters.
Yeah.
My whole career is mothers and children.
Yeah.
There is like nothing other than this podcast that's masculine in my life.
And Ruben, if you and I together is as masculine as you get, that's trouble.
Anyways, I laughed much harder than I should have. I have no regrets.
So I want to close by reminding our listeners, please. We haven't got a review in a long time. I think we've gotten some 5-star reviews have come in. Mind you, we've had some. We're up to 35, Ruben. 35 5-star reviews on iTunes. Yeah.
That's incredible. Bad. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
So those who've done it, thank you. You don't even have to leave a comment. You can actually just do a 5-star review and just like hit 5 stars and that's it, and move on with your day. So on your iPad, on your iPhone app, right under our show notes, you can. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. There's stars right there, and it says rate this show. It tells you to do it. It actually tells you you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, be obedient, guys. Come on, do what you're supposed to be doing.
If you don't use iPhone or the iTunes Store or whatever it is, Apple Podcasts.
Like myself, I'm an Android guy.
Yeah, but you can also review shows on every podcast app you use, whether it's Castbox, Podcaster, Catbox, CAD, whatever. You can leave a review. Or if you really just follow us on Twitter, Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast, just search for us on Twitter. You just do that search, will come up. Search for us online. You'll see wherever we're available. You also find us on Instagram. Same thing, search for us on Instagram. Same thing, Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. And lastly, add us on our ever-growing Facebook page or group. We're nearing the 5,500 mark. We have 5,375 likes, and we have 5,700 followers on our Facebook page. So keep those numbers coming. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate the love and support that people do on Facebook. And we have a lot of listeners who do listen that like us on Facebook and talk about the show there. So that's probably the number one place of engagement. And then the second, of course, is Twitter. We want to thank all of our top fans and listeners. We do appreciate it. Some shout outs here. Like, I'll just look right here. We got people like Bob O'Rourke, who always comments. Adrian Wallet, who was a guest host. Matt Biller. Of course, Kyle Peterson, who was a guest host. These are some individuals right away. I'm just looking at the recent comments. People comment over on Twitter. We have people like Andy V. Oh boy, so many people comment. Cobra Commander is a guy that comments all the time. A guy called Rocky Winter comments all the time. Greg Arnold comments all the time. Emails us. So guys, we just want to let you know that we are aware and we are truly thankful for the comments, the likes, the upvotes, whatever you want to call it. I want to say that we do appreciate it. I know Ruben does. We'll never ask for money. I've made that my policy. We'll never be a Patreon podcast. We do this because we love it. And we'll never ask you guys for your hard-earned money. The show will always be free. We're hoping, but here's the thing. This is why we ask you guys to review and rate us and like us on Facebook and stuff. It's because if we get enough listeners, then we can get sponsors. We can get people that will give us money to give us advertisement. There's no shame in that. But we just don't have enough listeners to warrant that. But we'll never ask you guys for money. So
I'll do a deodorant commercial if needed.
Yeah, Ruben could do deodorant. Or Gas X, or whatever that.
Yeah.
So I want to make that clear. And so when people, like, that's why I'll never Patreon. So if that helps you to give us a review, maybe that will help you to do it, because we'll never ask for your money. But Ruben and I do a lot of time to do the show and editing and all that good stuff. And we love to do it, but we'll never ask for your money. But if you get more people listening to our show because you like us on Facebook or share us on Twitter, all that good stuff, then we can get a sponsor, and the sponsor will give us money, and it won't come from you guys. It'll come from a big company. So that's my plea, and I'm going to keep pounding that until we get a sponsor. Ruben, it's good to have you on the show. Anything you want to close with before we close?
Ding, ding.
I knew you were going to do that. We missed it. Okay.
My pleasure.